Welcome back. Today we are diving straight into Module 7 of our Explainer series, and honestly, I am genuinely thrilled to guide you through this one. We are currently crossing a massive, absolutely fundamental technological threshold. We're talking about the transition from artificial intelligence that just talks to us to AI that actually acts on our behalf. If you've ever found yourself staring at your computer wishing you could just tell it, hey, figure out this problem and fix it, and then actually walk away while it does all the heavy lifting, well, you're going to want to pay very close attention to this.
I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. Imagine a world where your AI doesn't just draft a polite apology email to a customer because of a delayed shipment. Think bigger. Imagine it actually spots a bottleneck in your supply chain on its own. Then, it autonomously contacts 3 different vendors to source replacement parts, reroutes the shipping lines to save time, and automatically updates your internal budget to reflect the new costs. All of this happening without you lifting a single finger. So what happens when AI stops just talking and starts doing? That right there is the agentic revolution. Whether you're a CEO, a department manager, or running a small business out of your garage, understanding this shift is absolutely crucial. Why? Because it is about to completely redefine what a workforce even looks like. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. We'll meet the AI agent. 2. We'll look at giving AI hands and senses. 3. Rebuilding the data foundation. 4. Keeping autonomous AI safe. And finally, 5. The road ahead. All right, let's jump right into part 1, Meet the AI Agent. Now, by this point, we're all pretty used to the basic chatbot model, right? You ask a question, it gives you an answer, it's essentially read-only. And let's be honest, it basically has the memory of a goldfish. The second that chat window closes, it completely forgets who you are and what you were talking about. It has zero ability to interact with the outside world. But an autonomous agent? That is a completely different beast. An agent is read and write. It acts entirely independently. It actually grabs external tools. Think of it like picking up a digital wrench or a magnifying glass to get real, tangible jobs done. And the coolest part? It loops its own reasoning. It tries something, learns from its mistakes, and keeps trying until it solves complex, multi-step problems. So we're no longer talking about a conversationalist. We're talking about a highly capable, active, working participant in your business. To understand how this works under the hood, let's look at the anatomy of this new digital worker. It's actually fascinating. Think of a large language model, like the ones powering the chatbots we just talked about, as the brain of the operation, sitting right at the center. When a complex problem comes in, this brain doesn't just spit back a generic summary. Instead, it looks at a whole toolbox of available enterprise tools. We can think of these tools as its hands. The brain dynamically figures out exactly which tool is right for the specific job, uses that tool to execute the task, observes what happens, and then loops right back to decide its next logical move. It's this endless, continuous cycle of thinking, testing, and doing. Moving on to part 2, giving AI hands and senses. Okay, so to give this AI functional hands that can actually do things, it needs a standardized way to safely use your company's internal tools and data. Without a standard, an AI trying to read your company's completely siloed databases would be like a tourist trying to navigate 5 different countries without speaking a single word of the local languages. It would just be a mess. Enter MCP, or the Model Context Protocol. Think of MCP as a universal, highly secure translator. It provides a predictable gateway that lets AI safely navigate your corporate data without getting hopelessly lost. And this isn't some far-off futuristic idea. According to a recent Futurum research report, a striking 20% of respondents who are looking into this technology are already running MCP in production environments. People are building this right now. But an effective worker doesn't just need hands, right? It also needs senses. It needs to know what's going on around it. There's this fantastic quote from Sean Falconer at Confluent. He points out that streaming agents essentially provide the eyes and ears for organizations to glean the latest data-driven developments. What does that actually mean for us? Well, by plugging the AI into streaming data platforms like Apache Kafka, which basically acts as a company's real-time central nervous system, we are giving the AI true, instantaneous sensory awareness. It's no longer just sitting there twiddling its thumbs waiting for a human to type a prompt. It is constantly listening to the ambient heartbeat of your business, ready to react the very millisecond something changes. Let's walk through a story of how this event-driven loop actually plays out in the real world. Step 1. An event occurs. Let's say it's 2 a.m., and an IoT temperature sensor in a massive warehouse fridge detects a dangerous drop in cold air. Step 2. The data routing system, like Kafka, sees that alert and instantly flashes it across the network. Step 3.
Our AI agent receives the alert and immediately analyzes this brand new context. Step 4. It autonomously grabs a tool and takes action. Maybe it instantly messages the on-call technician, or maybe it even automatically reroutes power to a backup generator to save the inventory. And finally, step 5. It formally updates the system record so that when the human managers arrive in the morning, they know exactly what went down and how it was handled. It perceived a crisis, planned a fix, and executed it entirely on its own while everyone else was asleep. How incredible is that?
Which brings us to part 3, rebuilding the data foundation.
For these agents to pull off complex tasks, they need a reliable long-term memory. And to give them that, we use something called a vector database. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. The concept is actually quite intuitive. Just imagine a remarkably smart filing cabinet. Traditional databases are kind of rigid. They require you to type in an exact keyword match to find anything. But a vector database stores information conceptually based on its underlying meaning. For example, if you search for dog, the database is smart enough to know it should probably also look for files containing puppy or canine based on the context. This creates a deeply solid conceptual memory for our AI worker. And that is absolutely critical because it prevents the AI from hallucinating or just making things up out of thin air when it hits a wall trying to solve a problem. As Futurum research strongly highlights, introducing these vector databases means our underlying tech infrastructure has to fundamentally evolve. We are moving away from passive storage. We're no longer dealing with traditional filing cabinets just sitting in a dusty room, waiting patiently for a human to eventually open a drawer. We are moving to active execution environments. These new data architectures have to be robust enough to support the always-on, high-velocity demands of AI agents. These agents are continuously reading, writing, and looping decisions literally thousands of times a minute, 24 hours a day, without ever stopping for a coffee break. The infrastructure just has to be rock solid to keep up. Now we need to talk about part 4, keeping autonomous AI safe. Because let's be real, letting autonomous software run wild comes with some massive risks. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, has identified some severe hazards when AI systems start acting without human oversight. We are looking at threats like autonomously changed decisions, escalated security privileges, and producing real-world effects at literal machine speed. Just imagine an AI agent trying to balance a corporate budget, and it decides the most efficient solution is to autonomously fire employees at the speed of light. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but that is the exact kind of cascading error we absolutely have to avoid. Because these agents operate so incredibly fast, a tiny mathematical mistake or a bad assumption can spiral completely out of control before a human manager even finishes pouring their morning coffee. Because this risk is so real, federal agencies are practically sprinting to build robust safety and governance frameworks. Just look at this timeline mapping out NIST's direct response. In late 2025, they published drafts mapping standard cybersecurity frameworks directly to these specific agentic threats. By February 2026, they released a concept paper on agent identity. This is basically the industry figuring out how to give an AI a verifiable, trackable employee ID badge, so we know exactly who it is, what it's doing, and when it did it. They also officially launched the AI Agent Standards Initiative, working around the clock to establish strict, purpose-built safety protocols for these brand new digital workers. They know the revolution is here, and they're racing to put the guardrails up. Finally, let's look at part 5, the road ahead. The whole concept of a single AI doing a task is really just the beginning. It illustrates where the entire industry is heading. Because very soon, we won't just be talking about one isolated AI agent. The ultimate vision here is a future built entirely on multi-agent systems. Picture multiple, highly specialized AI workers continuously coordinating tasks together, much like a highly efficient human corporate department. One agent might be tasked strictly with reserving retail inventory. Once it secures the goods, it hands the baton directly to another agent whose sole job is ordering the shipping and logistics. Then, that logistics agent coordinates with a final, specialized agent that handles the external payments and billing. It is this beautiful, seamless, incredibly complex multi-step workflow, just humming along entirely in the background, executing business operations perfectly. It's like a perfectly choreographed digital dance. So, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. We are currently witnessing a fundamental tectonic shift in our entire relationship with computing. As AI transitions from a passive tool that you simply use into an autonomous worker that you must actively manage, you have to ask yourself, is your organization's data infrastructure and your safety governance truly ready for the agentic shift? Because the companies that lay the groundwork and prepare right now, they are the ones who are going to lead the future. Thank you so much for exploring this with me in Module 7, and I will see you in the next explainer.